Hey guys, in this video I want to teach you how to make a similar wand to this without ever paying the sticker price on the trade site. So if you take a peek, something like this with +5 skills, spell damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, maybe cast speed, gain damage as an element, something like that, that could be kind of pricey. Currently on the trade site it looks like it's going somewhere for 32 to 80 divine. Well, we can make a wand like that way less and maybe get better rolls. So in this video I'm going to tell you how to do that step by step, plain English, easy to follow right now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to acquire 2 wands, okay? The first one that we get is item level 81 and has +5 level of all spells that we're looking for. It could be all spells. In our case, we're only looking for lightning, so that's what I grabbed. The second one that we need is going to be something like this. And if I press Alt, you can see it has 2 modifiers, a prefix and a suffix. I'm only caring about the prefix. As long as we have spell damage of tier 6, 7, or 8, we're good to go. In this case, it's tier 7. So I used the trade economy and I bought a wand like this for 5 lightning skills. That was 81. Perfect, good to go. How do you get this wand? How would you get something like this? Really simple. In your hideout, go talk to Ange. Ange is going to allow you to buy or sell items and she's going to sell you a wand. I'm going to control left click to buy it. And eventually she's going to sell me something like this that just is a tier 6, 7, or 8 spell damage prefix. Once I've got that, I'm good to go. And it's off to the first step. We're going to take both of these wands and we're going to use the recombinator. So click on the recombinator and you're going to drag one wand in, or you can control left click to place the other. You're going to select spell damage and you're going to select plus the lightning spell skills. You're going to have a 50% chance for success and it's going to use 10 broken circle artifacts. So we're going to activate our Omen of Recombination and it's going to consume these. This Omen is going to allow this roll to be lucky. So odds are it should work. We're going to combine both of these now and away we go. Perfect. Recombination successful, and now it's on to the next step. We're going to use Arcanist Etchers to give this max quality. In case we ever want to use Galvanic Field, send that to 20. I'm then going to use Artificer's Orb to toss on a socket, and it cannot have more than 1. If you try to use another Artificer's Orb, that's not going to happen. You might find gear on people that have 2 sockets. They have an exceptional base. They paid a little bit more, like a premium, to get that. This video is not doing that, but you could follow a similar process. You start with an exceptional base, item level 81 with +5 skills, but that's really, really pricey. If you can afford to do that, just do the step I just did with dual socket, and you're good to go. Let's keep going. Once that's all finished, the next step we're going to do is we're going to activate our Omen of Dextral Exaltation, and we're going to use an Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. This is now going to add suffix-only modifiers to our wand that currently has plus to all lightning spell skills, and it's going to only add it as a suffix with a perfect exalted orb. You could use a greater exalted orb if you want. This is where it gets kind of new. So perfect exalted orbs and greater exalted orbs are new this league, and what they allow you to do is add a modifier of a certain level. So to make this sort of English, this is what you need to know. I've got to have this link in the description as well. These are all the modifiers that could exist on a wand, whether it's all skills, whether it's going to be some kind of damage, and you're going to notice these tags, damage, elemental fire, and those are actually in the game as well. If you press Alt, like I mentioned, and you just kind of mouse over the T, T1, T7, those are the tags. Elemental, lightning, caster, and gem. It's all there for you. So what these omens are going to do is they're going to deterministically force a result on our craft. So what we're saying is, I want you to make sure that you're going to add a suffix. And so rares can only have 3 suffixes and 3 prefixes in the game unless otherwise stated. So we already know we have 1 suffix, which is lightning spell skills. And then it's going to say, when we use an exalted orb, go ahead and add a modifier that already exists. So of all the things that it could be, it can only become one of these 3 things: cast speed, critical hit chance, or critical hit damage, because it shares a caster tag with the spells that's already on it, as well as the caster tag that's on our spell damage. So it has to become cast speed, critical hit chance, or crit damage, because it can't become something that's already there, which is lightning spell skills. So again, we're going to activate Omen of Dextral Exaltation, Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation, and we're going to right click on one of our perfect exalts. You're going to see, if I press Alt, that I've got tier 2 cast speed. Perfect. And we're going to do this one more time to fill up all of our suffixes. And we could hit crit hit damage or crit hit chance. Let's use this again. They stay highlighted. Right click, perfect exalt. Bingo. We now have 56% chance, which is a tier 2, and +5 skills. All of our suffixes are done. We're looking really good. Now, on this item, we do have this spell damage prefix, which is not something that's so ideal. It's quite a low roll. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Omen of Sinestral Crystallization. The next perfect or corrupted essence will remove the prefix, that thing that we don't want. And this is Essence of the Abyss, a perfect essence. So when I activate my Omen of Sinestral Crystallization, it has to remove spell damage. So I go ahead and apply it. Boom. Oh, it didn't work out. It's going to try again. And there it goes. Sometimes it doesn't work right off the hop. Just keep clicking it till it works. Once you've got that, you're now going to see that your item now bears the mark of the Abyssal Lord. Not a big deal. That's your only prefix. So now we're going to slam in Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. We're going to activate that again with perfect exalted orbs. And this is where we're going to start to see gain damage or big damage for spells. So right click. Again, I'm using perfect exalts. If that's too expensive, you can use greater exalts. That's fine. Just be aware that the minimum modifier level on a perfect exalt is 50, where a greater exalt might be a little bit lower, like 35. And if you don't know what I'm discussing, I'm talking about the second line there. The stack size doesn't matter for now. You're looking at the minimum modifier level. And to kind of quickly explain that, the modifier level is something like this. If I click on increase spell damage, you're going to see that 1, 8, 16, 33. These are all the modifier levels. So the reason you would use a perfect exalt or a greater exalt is because you want to make sure that, as an example here with perfect exalt, the minimum modifier that this thing could be, in this case, would be something like Incanters, Glyphic, or Runic, because it has to be at least 50. That means it can't be 46 or lower. And the same is true for all the other modifiers when you're crafting stuff. So you're sort of forcing the game to deterministically give you a really good tier. Tier 1's the best. Anything lower than that is obviously worse, right? So here we go. The next step we're going to use is Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. Right click to add that red border. That means that the next exalted orb we add has to follow the same rules. So it's going to have caster, speed, caster, lightning, gem, elemental, and currently abyssal, which doesn't really matter, and caster critical. But all of our suffixes are full, so it has to add a prefix. No problem. So here we go. We're going to add, click. We've got hybrid. So we got spell damage in mana. We're going to do it again. And we got spell damage, so fantastic. Everything's looking good so far. We've got tier 2 spell damage, and mana, and bears the mark of the Abyssal Lord. To get rid of that mark of the Abyssal Lord that's kind of whack, we're gonna go ahead and use a preserved jawbone. Now, when we do this, it's important to realize that we have these modifiers that are now desecrated modifiers. And because our wand currently has all of our suffixes full, we're only looking at the prefix modifier pool. So depending on what you're looking for, I think Amanu might be nice for us if we're a Blood Mage Spark character, because we constantly cast our skills with life. So I'm be looking for something with Amanu. Amanu, perfect. Fantastic. Okay, so this only works on weapons or jewelry. So I'm going to bring this over here. Right click it to activate Omen of the Liege. Weapon or jewelry desecration attempt will guarantee a random Amanu modifier, which is what I want. So I know it's either going to be spell damage, minion damage, increased elemental damage, or increased damage of spells that cost life. I'm forcing that here. So you could also use an ancient jawbone. At the moment, I'm currently using a preserved jawbone, which will give me a lower tier, but that's okay. So let's hit this. Let's remove the mark of the Abyssal Lord. Boom. And now you can see that I've got spell damage. I've also got plus to skills, cast speed, critical hit chance. Life is good. So far, toss that sucker back. We're good to go. Now we're going to activate the Omen of Abyssal Echoes. What this is going to do is allow me to have 3 additional chances to create desecrated modifiers on this. But if I don't like it, I get 3 modifiers. That Omen of Abyssal Echoes lets me see another 3. So let's go see if we can find a modifier that we like. Remember that we set that to be the Amanu modifier. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Well of Souls, and that's what we're going to do. So take this sucker, make sure you have Omen of Abyssal Echoes activated by right-clicking, take your wand, toss her inside the box, and hit reveal. And we got increased damage, which is not bad. Elemental damage is good. We got gain damage as fire, but that's not something that I really want. So I'm going to go ahead and use the reroll that my Omen was just consumed to do. And what do we have? Okay, increased elemental damage. We'll take that. That's totally fine. We could gain damage as cold, but in my case, I'm just going to take the extra elemental damage. Send that sucker in. Todd's going to go dip down and grab our wand back. And now we are good to go. We're basically all set. If the situation occurred where we rolled it and we really weren't happy with what we saw, like that's not what I wanted, we could use something called the Omen of Light with another object here called the Orb of Annulment. The Orb of Annulment will try to remove a modifier, but if we use the Omen of Light by activating that and then using our Orb of Annulment, it will only get rid of that green or desecrated property, which is really nice. So we could try to force that increased damage of spells that cost life setup for our Blood Mage, because we pay our spells with life, which would be kind of cool. And that's essentially it. We'd be done. Now, if you want to get a little risky, I'm going to show you this as well. You could use a Val Orb to randomly corrupt this, and when you do that, you could get a second socket, which would be kind of nice. You'll see I never did that, and you can if you want to, but if you're going to use a Val Orb, make sure you right-click to activate an Omen of Corruption. That's going to force the Val Orb, when you use this, to actually do something. Sometimes you can corrupt a piece of gear and nothing occurs. The Omen of Corruption says something will happen every single time. And then when you're all set, you can socket your wand with anything, like maybe ranging from extra damage as lightning or cold or whatever you like, or it could even be something like this, Hedge Witch's Sandra's Rune of Wisdom, which will allow you to get plus to all skills. Plus to all skills will be the highest thing that I can think of inside those sockets, and that'd be about it. Now, one thing I want to talk about, like your wand's done, you're all set. The next thing I want to talk about is the Omen of Greater Exaltation. If you use this when crafting, and we use like a Greater Exalted Orb or a Perfect Exalted Orb, this will give you 2 modifiers from the 1 Exalt that you use. But in my research and all the testing I've done, you don't always get that same minimum modifier appreciation from like a Greater Exalt or a Perfect Exalt, which is why I use that raw currency myself. As you can see from our wand, we're forcing tier 2 minimum all the way through it. If you rely on the Omen of Greater Exaltation, or that's all you have with a regular Exalt, that's okay, just don't expect to get high range modifiers like that. By manually using our Perfect Exalts and Greater Exalts, we get that deterministic high range for our stuff. So that's how you make a wand like that, nice and simple, and now you know. Hope this video helped you craft a powerful weapon for your character, and I hope you enjoyed. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.